We've got two exciting products that we're trying here today. Actually, this one's just supplementary to what we're trying to do, but we have the T.H.O.R Shield. This is the Interior Protect product. The reason you've got rinseless there is because we're going to try this for our cleaner.
I've got DIY Detail rinseless in here, 256:1 dilution, which is your standard dilution. We're going to use this as our interior cleaner. We're going to clean the Range Rover behind us, get that nice and clean, and then you're right, we're going to put some T.H.O.R Interior Protect over the top to give us some UV protection of the interior of the vehicle.
So we'll take you inside. We're going to work on the Range Rover here today. So we've got a mixture of some plastics, some leathers in there as well, so we'll be able to show you this across a range of different materials.
So for the longest time ever, typically Glenn and I, how we've been cleaning our customer cars' interiors and also ours, is we like to use a very mild interior cleaner. We don't really clean dirty cars, but when we do, we like to use a mild cleaner that's usually quite heavily alcohol based. And the reason why we like that is because when you're doing customer based cars, you want the interior to look good. You don't want it to have any overspray. So when you're spraying in the vehicle, in the cabin and stuff, you don't want to be spraying it over here. You also don't want to be pushing product over to here. And so a product that's got some alcohol base to it is very nice because it will flash away. Meaning you don't have to be too specific about where you're putting the product, because we know if I push it over here and I miss a little spot, it'll flash away. The other reason why we like it is that modern cars, like this one here, comes with a lot of screen. So we've got a screen here, the whole middle console's got a screen, and also cars have got a lot of piano black trim. Now if you're using a product that's you know, got some UV protectant space in it, it's very hard to have a smear free finish, and so we like to use another alcohol based product there, clean the screens, clean the piano black, because we know it will flash away, giving us a nice clean finish. And so typically we use alcohol based interior products. They're not going to give us the deepest clean, but it's more of like a cleaner that you'd use maintenance for your maintenance cleans. That's what we like to use, but today we've decided to spice it up a little bit. We're going to use rinseless wash with a damp and rinseless towel to do our very mild cleaning in here, remove some dust and some bits and pieces like that, and then we're going to follow it up with the T.H.O.R Clean and Protect product.
So what Glenn's going to do here is use this DIY Detail rinseless wash. As he said, it's diluted 256:1. You just spray that directly on the surface or straight onto the towel?
I like to clean the interior by spraying directly onto the towel. I'm a real, I suppose, butt hurt for getting overspray everywhere. I've had interiors before where I've had overspray and I haven't seen where I've oversprayed it, and you come back and you get all these dots everywhere. I know rinseless washes are going to do that, but it's just practice for me that I always spray on the towel here. And so you can see here we've got, this interior is not dirty by any means. We can see we've got light dusting along here, there's some dusting up here on the trim here, and so I'm just going to soak my microfiber down. I want to get it pretty, you know, pretty damp.
This is your typical interior though. If you upkeep your vehicles quite nicely, you're just going to have maybe a couple of marks here and there. You're going to have some light dusting, so something like a rinseless wash should be all that you need in order to clean it. You don't need anything that's going to deep clean. There's no stains that we're trying to get out of here.
And what we're trying to do is just clean the surface so that we've got a nice, you know, a surface that hasn't got any dust or anything on it, so that we can then apply our protectant product. And then I'm just going to come along, and there's a little bit of water residue here and there. I just come across with my second wipe and just basically buff that so it's nice and dry.
And using something like a rinseless wash on your interiors means it's very versatile as well, so you can use it across all different plastics, screens, trim. It's safe to use pretty much on everything, whereas if you're using something alcohol based, you do have to be a bit careful. So as you can see there, Glenn's cleaning the screens there. Should remove all of that fingerprinting. And given it's a rinseless as well, it should flash away quite nicely, leave nothing behind on there, because obviously screens, we don't want any UV properties on there because we're going to end up with smudges. And the second wipe should take any of that smearing away, leaving a nice clean finish there.
And same again, we're using the rinseless wash on the piano black trim here, and on the buttons, and also on the gear lever. And you can sort of see the water residue that it leaves behind, but you clear that up with your second buff towel.
Just a really safe way to clean your interior if it's not heavily soiled. So we're just going to finish our way working on the front half of the car here, work on getting these door cards nice and clean, and then we'll come back to you with T.H.O.R Shield. So we've got the interior all clean and we're ready to apply our shield. Now, why would you want a product like this? Now, this is really important in our part of the world. We're here in New Zealand and we're pretty well known here for having a really thin ozone layer, meaning that we have really high UV levels. It's not uncommon for us to have UV of 12, 13 across the summer months, which means anything that is in sight within the car, if we are parking it in the elements outside for extended periods of time, is at risk of being damaged by the UV. So a product like this, Shield, will basically apply some UV inhibitors to the surface. That's probably the first element of why it's really important in this part of the world. The second piece is it will enrich in your plastics as well. So even if you're not operating in a high UV environment and you don't need that characteristics of the product, what it will do is enrich in the surfaces that you apply it to give you that richer look. Maybe not so important on a newer car, but definitely if you're looking at an older car, maybe the trim's faded out a bit over time, this should restore some of the properties around it and really make it look nice and dark. Now, the reason why we've only gone around and cleaned the front portion of the car, so the front dash and these two door cards, is the tint laws in New Zealand. We're pretty limited on how much tint we can actually apply to windows, and the front windscreen, it's not legal to tint that at all. So what that means is all of that heavy UV that's coming into the car is hitting the dash with absolutely no protection, and same through the side windows on the front as well. So really important for us to protect the front of the car, the back not so much.
So when you're applying this product, I recommend that you treat this with respect and be very careful about it. If you were to spray this into the cabin and you got some down the back of the dash and you forgot about it, that will leave like little dots everywhere. They're really hard to remove. How I know that is because when I was using this the other day, I got dots down there. It is super hard to remove, so be very careful about that. What I would do is I would apply this to like an applicator pad, you know, a little block like that, and I would use this like I was applying, you know, like a ceramic coating or a particular dressing, and just be really careful about it. I don't have any applicator pads, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some of this to the microfiber towel, and I'm going to sort of wipe that in. You'll see this come really dark and enriched. It flashes a little bit because there is some sort of flashing property to it, and then I'm going to come along with my second wipe towel and remove it. Now this does have some SiO2 properties into it, so it could load up your towels. So maybe use a towel that you're prepared to throw away, or use a towel that you only use for this type of application, because it does have a tendency to load things up.
And what we've got here as well is lots of different materials. So we've got some kind of hard vinyl up here, we've got some plastics, we've got some leather, and especially on the door cards here as well, a lot of leather. We have some plastics as well as you get further down the door. And what we're going to show you is that how this is pretty versatile across all of those different materials that you're working with. So you've applied to the towel there.
So you can see that when I wipe it across, it sort of goes white, but you can see then it then flashes away. You're left with a little bit of residue here and there, so then I recommend you come across with your second wipe and just lightly buff that so that it's dry to touch, and you're removing the last little bit of the material left there.
So Glenn's applying it to the upper dash here as well, and you can see, so you get that, wouldn't call it smearing, it looks like it's trying to flash away there, and it's that second towel that you need to remove it completely. It has quite a nice scent to it as well.
The scent is really good. I don't necessarily know the smell of this scent, but it sort of smells, I don't know, it's kind of like a cologne.
Yeah, it smells sophisticated, eh?
Yeah, leaves the interior feeling quite nice, and it's like a really nice refreshing smell. What I know is that straight away it leaves this leather feeling really nice and slick. It's sort of silky, it makes it a silky finish. Have a feel of it, just give it a nice little rub.
Yeah, you actually got me to hop in this car the other day when you used this product for the first time, and you're like, have a feel of the dashboard. Such a weird thing for you to ask me to do, and I was expecting that you to tell me that you had used a some kind of interior cleaner or interior detailer that just left everything sticky, but no, that's like silky to touch.
Very silky, and I do like it on the leather. So now we can come over to this good door card here, and we can apply it to there as well. You just want to be a little bit careful around piano black trimix in places like that, because it can be a little smudgy. I'll show you what I mean. So you can see that when I apply it to this piano black trim here, you can see where I've wiped it. And now when I come back for my second wipe, it does wipe away clean, but you just got to be a little bit careful about it because it can leave a few smudges behind.
And this is why we'd recommend not spraying this directly on the surface, using an applicator or a towel spraying into that, so you can manage where you're spraying this.
So I've applied it to this little piece of the plastic here. I've only gone to as far as this line, but what you can see, and this is exactly what I like about this, is it hasn't really altered the finish of the two plastics. So only to there, it's remained a sort of an OEM finish, which is good because I don't want it to look way too glossy. I don't want to look like I've applied Armor All to the interior of this car and made it look super rich and super glossy, because that doesn't look good. I want to remain the OEM finish of the vehicle. I want to add a little bit of protection. I want it to feel nice and smooth. And that's exactly why I like this product. Keeps it nice and simple in the interior.
So obviously Glenn's just mentioned one of the things he likes about this product the most is the feel of it, how it's silky. And that's why it's perfect, that it's versatile across lots of different materials, because the place that you're going to feel that the most in the interior would be the steering wheel.
So the steering wheel is probably one of the places where, in the interior of your vehicle, where it's going to get hit the hardest. It's going to have your grubby hands all over it. You're going to get a lot of oils transferring into the steering wheel. It's also the place that probably sees the most amount of sun, especially at the top here. Quite a common area for the steering wheel to fade. So got the rinseless wash in here, and I'm just giving this a very nice clean, which is going to remove all the hand oils and all the dirt and grime from the steering wheel, and then we'll be able to apply the UV protectant onto this. And man, I love the feel of the steering wheel of this with this product. It feels so nice, and it's like this is the only place where you're probably going to be rubbing your hands on the leather and plastics, but it's definitely a nice little spot for that to be applied to.
So you can be quite liberal as well with the amount you're spraying in the towel, which you couldn't do if you were spraying directly onto the surface of the car.
So just wipe that in, we'll let that soak in there for a little bit, and then we'll wipe that clean.
Now when you get to this point, you're not trying to fully remove the product as well.
You're sort of just leveling it off. You're just removing anything that hasn't had time to soak in. And oh, let me tell you, that is the best feeling. It just feels really nice, really soft, slick, nice, clean and protected steering wheel.
And probably one of my favorite things about this product is that although we are adding some UV inhibitors to the interior, it's doing it in a way that's really not altering the appearance of the car from OEM. So it definitely is enriching, but it's at such a light degree that it doesn't make a noticeable difference. As you can see on the dash there earlier, you couldn't see a clear line where Glenn had applied that product. We've just applied protection without all of the fuss and mess that goes with it.
So there you have it. We have used a combination of the DIY Detail Rinseless Wash and the T.H.O.R Interior Protect to basically clean and protect the interior of this vehicle.
I think if you're in anywhere in the world where the UV is really high and you're in a similar condition to ours where you can't tint the front windshield, it's really important to protect the integrity of your plastics. I mean, this is a new car, plastics should be all right, but goodness, the car behind the camera there, you know, if you're having an older car and it is exposed to the elements, you want to be really careful with that, and I think that's where a product like this comes in very handy.
And what I like about it is that this is a supplementary product. This isn't an interior cleaner that's got this built into it, because I don't like to use interior cleaners where it's built in. I like to use this every couple of months or so. I don't like to use this maintenance-wise, you know, through a maintenance cleaning. I like to add this when I need it, and this allows me to do it, just to apply it when I require it, which is what I really like.
Now, T.H.O.R sell this on the House of Rags. It's available in the 16 ounce that you've got in your hand there, and it's also available in a gallon. Now, this product is a little bit unique. Some of the other products that do this in the market are dilutable. This here is recommended that you just spray it neat, straight up, which I like. You're not having to mix anything up. You don't have to have any extra bottles lying around. I don't think you need a gallon. I think start yourself with that. That is going to last you a long time.
We've used half the bottle and we've probably done this 3 times now. So
yeah, so you can probably get yourself, you know, a good detailing season out of a smaller bottle of this. And as always, the DIY detail products as well. Rinseless wash, this is V2. That's available on the House of Rags as well.
No, this is V1. You can buy V2 now on the House of Rags.
Oh,
you're not gonna buy it already diluted. You're gonna have to go and do that yourself. But we just diluted it and put it in this bottle just to show you.